guys, what's going on? Is Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Thank you for joining me today. Today, you know what, would you believe we've never done a beginner's guide ever for Raid Shadow Legends? Shame on me, but what better time than now, the new year 2021, to go ahead and kick off a beginner's guide here on the channel. Now, before we get into the information today, basically where to prioritize in terms of your time, your focus, your energy, both figuratively and literally in-game, your energy, which is a scarce resource. We're going to talk about all that, kind of how to avoid some of the pitfalls that some players struggle with in the early game of Raid Shadow Legends. But before all of that, I should mention this. I don't get paid for this or anything like that. I don't get paid for any content here on this channel from Plarium, from Raid Shadow Legends. However, on my other channel, I do have advertisements every now and then again for Raid Shadow Legends, and they give me a link. If you click on my link on my other channel, you'll get a bunch of like free resources, gems, champions, rare epic champions, and energy refills, ancient shards, all kinds of stuff. And that link always changes month to month depending on my advertisement. Anyway, long story short, if you're just starting the game, or if you want to start a new account right now, I do not get paid for this, by the way. These are old links. It's nothing like that. But why not get some extra gems, energy, whatever, champions along the way? I'll have an updated link for you guys. I'll try to remember to update it every month as well to go ahead and get those when you download the game. Why not? Again. Anyway, the number one focus inside Raid Shadow Legends, and I'm not gonna lie, they throw a lot at you, dude. Plarium really overwhelms new players in this game. Bunch of pop-ups, buy this, buy that, no thank you.
You're welcome.
First of all, until you know what you're doing in this game, don't buy anything is my, advice to you guys. Give yourself at least a couple weeks to kind of just do your quests, do your dailies, and that's a great place to kind of start here. Before we even get to the top priorities, just want to start out with the most basic tip that I can give you guys, and that is on a daily basis inside Raid, especially when you're starting out, even if you don't know what the heck you're doing, just go ahead down here. I'm covering it right now, but you guys can see quests. Just go to your missions, and then go to your quests. And basically just go through them, guys. There's some good rewards that you guys can get every single day, every single week inside the game. So just do these. And there's a little button that says go, so you can just go to the market. I don't know where the market is. Well, you can just go there right there. Okay, I buy a mystery shard. Okay, I got it. Quest complete. Yay. So now I get 5,000 silver, 100 XP, and I get 5 arena tokens. Why not? And there I completed all my daily quests. I get 10 gems. See how easy it is? This is a good starting point for anybody playing this game. If you don't know what to do, just take a look at your missions, take a look at your quests, and you'll get good rewards along the way, and it will give you some guidance inside the game. Tip number 2, let's talk about priorities, I should say. The number 1 priority, first of all, starting champions. You got Galek, you got Elhain, you got Aethel, you got Kayle. Man, there's no reason to go with anybody but Kayle unless you're a big spender or you just want to try something a little bit different, because Kayle is the most endgame viable by a lot, I think, out of those 4 champions. So to go anybody but Kayle, you're putting yourself at a little bit of a disadvantage in the early game. Again, if you're just going to go ahead and drop a bunch of money on the game, a couple $100, then it's not going to matter anyway. You pick whoever you want. But especially if you're free to play like I am on this account, go with Kayle. Just go with Kayle. He's that much better because he's more versatile. He's viable in a bunch of different areas in the game the longer you play, and he's just a little bit better overall anyway. So between the versatility, the endgame viability, and the overall being better than the other champions, Kayle's the guy to go with. So your number 1 goal in this game is to get your Kayle to 6 stars and then get him fully ascended so he can wear all his jewelry. All right, we don't have to worry about if you don't know what jewelry is, you don't know how to ascend and everything a player, it's cool. Just know your first goal. Focus on 1 champion, probably Kayle. That's also going to be your campaign farmer. Your campaign farmer is going to be kind of the vehicle that drives all the other champions you want to get to 6 stars, ranked up to 6 stars as well. Because after you 6-star your first champion, your starting champion, Kayle, after that, you're going to want to go ahead and 6-star and fully ascend 1 team of 5 champions, your main team, and then you can start focusing on dungeons. So that's kind of a roadmap for you guys, just in terms of where your focus should be. Now, while you're doing that, you should always be using your arena tokens. So arena in this game, these tokens replenish 1 per hour, so you pretty much always have them. Every 10 hours you get a fresh supply. It's easy. You just go into, well, the arena, you participate in battles inside the classic arena. It's easy to do, and then you'll be able to upgrade your Great Hall. Now your Great Hall, do as I say, not as I do. This account, I've been slacking on my arena. Don't make the same mistake. But your Great Hall bonuses, HP, attack, defense, it scales up based on the tier that you're at. But these bonuses apply to everywhere in the game, not just the arena. So when you're spending to upgrade, let's just say, your accuracy, which is what I'd recommend kind of starting on, accuracy and defense as a priority in the Great Hall. Once you upgrade this accuracy, you know, if you get all the way maxed, 80 accuracy applies to all of your Magic Affinity champions everywhere inside the game. I think Magic is a pretty good affinity to start with as well, because all the starting champions are Magic, and there's a lot of like popular and accessible champions that are also Magic affinity. So make sure you're focusing on the Great Hall. You can even do faction wars as well. We're not going to talk about that in today's video. Now, how are you leveling up these champions? If you're not familiar with how to campaign farm, how to use food, how to rank up food, rather than making this video 45 minutes long, I'm going to link you to another video where I really go in depth on the best practices for campaign farming. But suffice it to say, well, you go to your battle screen, you go to your campaign, and then you go to basically the highest level that you can clear fairly decently. So once you're actually able to clear all of campaign on normal difficulty, the best place to farm inside this entire game for silver, and I advise you guys do it for XP as well, so to gain experience on your champions, is 12-3. So stage 12 level 3 is the best place bang for your buck in terms of your energy. You can start out on normal and then go to hard and then go to, well, let me push over here. So you start out on normal, obviously 12-3 is fine, then hard, then brutal, then nightmare. But brutal 12-3 eventually, once you get there, is the best place to farm. Even if you can clear nightmare, it's the most efficient way to farm both silver and experience. Technically experience is 12-6, but I still recommend 12-3 because you get a little extra silver too, and it's not that big of a difference experience wise. So again, this is essentially what it will look like, guys. One sec, I just got my first epic champion, and I want to share that on a future video, so I don't want to give any spoilers, so be right back. So to rank up characters really quick, guys, you put your campaign farmer, in this case it's Kale. I'm trying to get him to 6 stars, fully ascended eventually, but you put your common champions that you're going to want to use for food, essentially sacrificing these champions, we call them food, to sacrifice to level up, or rank up, excuse me, another character such as Kale. So we need more 3 stars and 4 stars to sacrifice eventually to get Kale from 4 stars to 5 stars. Then we're gonna have to do it all over again to get him to 6 stars. So the more you rank up a champion, the more difficult it is to get him to that next ranking. It's kind of phase 1 of Raid Shadow Legends, getting first Kale and then a whole team to 6 stars. It's gonna take you a while to do, but enjoy the ride, experiment with new champions. So how am I getting all these common champions to rank up? Well, this is what it looks like essentially. You're just, you know, kind of going with the flow here. Kale kills everybody, and Kale gets experience, or if he's maxed, it's fine too, because the intent here is to get experience to all these crappy champions who are just going to go ahead and sacrifice in order to rank up our Kale later on. They're all going to die. Don't worry about it. It's cool. That's what's supposed to happen. The idea here is to level them up so you can sacrifice them, right? So that's kind of going to be your priority. Always grinding up food, always sacrificing food, and always leveling up your other characters. Now, you'll notice that my gear on Kale is life steal. You'll notice that he kind of healed himself throughout the duration of that battle. Highly advise you guys consider lifesteal gear as kind of a first priority to put on your champions. It's going to help you a lot with progression inside this game. In stage 8 here, Valdemar Strait is going to be where you're going to be getting your lifesteal gear in the early game. Eventually, you'll be getting it from Dragon's Lair, but in the early game, just go ahead and farm a little bit in stage 8, get some lifesteal gear on your champions, level them up to level 8, these artifacts, level them up to level 8 or level 12, and then you'll have kind of a nice, robust team that's able to heal themselves without having to rely on, you know, farming or pulling healers. Talking about farming and pulling, well, pulling. Mystery shards, you get a lot of mystery shards in this game, pull them. This is how you're going to get all those crappy common champions like this one here to go ahead and use for food. So mystery shards, again, you get them a lot. They drop in campaign, they drop in dungeons, they drop everywhere. You get a lot of them. Go ahead and use those, summon these champions, and then, hey, we have an uncommon here. And hey, it's Saurus, who just happens to be one of the better uncommons in the game. He has an AoE attack all enemies on his A1, and he has an AoE attack all enemies on his A2. I'm actually going to use this champion on my... I'm not going to use him as food. I'm actually going to save him. Other champions that are uncommon to keep an eye out for that you don't want to use as food, just off the top of my head, are Zephyr Sniper, maybe Outlaw Monk to use an early clan boss, but he doesn't scale that well into the mid and the end game. Armiger is one of the best uncommon champions in the game, Armiger. Shield Guard is really, really good end game viable uncommon champion. Saurus, who we just pulled here, is another example. So those are some off the top of my head. I think I hit all the kind of big uncommons that you want to keep. Everyone else you can use as food. So a Sniper is a kind of a popular uncommon as well. So I guess you can make the case that she belongs in that conversation. But Mystery Shards, always open them, guys. That's where you'll be getting all those champions to sacrifice, okay? So we already talked about missions and quests being a big priority. When you're in the beginning of the game, the first couple days, you're put into a tournament. I'm not there anymore, but it's kind of a new player tournament. Go ahead and compete in that. You might get some decent rewards as well, which will help you out. Always keep an eye in this game. You can see champion training. There's always rewards going on, and half the time you don't even realize it, but you're winning extra prizes from tournaments or from events inside the game. So always kind of be aware of what's going on. Oh, there's an event going on for, champion for dungeon farming or something. Okay, well, I'm going to be doing that anyway, so make sure you go ahead and take a look at the rewards and try to get them. So before we go into artifacts, guys, I did want to touch on one other thing, this gem mine. I just completed this and it took forever. Number one priority is don't use gems on anything inside the game until you unlock your gem mine. Gem mine, especially if you're free to play, it's going to be really your only reliable source of daily gems on your account, and gems and silver, and then followed by energy, are the most scarce resources inside Raid Shadow Legends. So make sure that you prioritize getting 500 gems first, saving up. Even if you're free to play, just save up your gems, and eventually you'll be able to unlock your gem mine. On this free to play account, it took me about 2 to 3 weeks to be able to save up enough gems, maybe even a little bit longer, maybe a month. So last thing in terms of daily things that you can collect is just by playing or keeping the app open, even if you're not using it on your phone or your desktop or whatever, you'll get these every 5, 20, 40, 60, 90, and 180 minutes. You'll get these rewards. Just make sure you go ahead and collect those playtime rewards as well. Now let's talk quickly about artifacts and how to best use artifacts inside the early game of Raid Shadow Legends. So here we have Kale, guys. The first thing that I kept an eye out for is obviously lifesteal gear. Now, I was given lifesteal gear. I think that everybody gets a few pieces early on in the game. Go ahead and put those on your Kale to keep him alive, as you saw in the campaign. So I'm looking for critical rate on his gauntlets, and you can see even a 4-star, I took it all the way to level 16, because at the end of the day, the goal is to get Kale's critical rate at 100%. That should be your first priority. And then if you can find some speed boots on this, on your Kale, or pretty much on all of your champions, prioritizing speed on the boots is going to be important. You can only get speed as a main stat on artifacts on the boots. You can only get critical rate as a main stat. We call these main stats. We call these substats underneath. You can only get critical rate as a main stat on your gauntlets. The number one mistake I see when people are equipping their Kale or any of their starting champions in this game is putting attack percentage or attack flat stats or whatever on their damage dealers and not focusing on crit rate first. Focus on crit rate, and then they'll do damage. Trust me, they'll do damage. After that, don't be afraid to put HP percentage or defense percentage chest on even your attackers to keep them alive. It's totally cool. In this case, I actually had an attack percentage chest on Kale, so that worked out just fine too. But don't be afraid to put HP on an attacker just to help keep them alive. It's more important to get that critical rate there. And also a note on flat stats. Let me see if I can find one here. So this is a flat stat, guys. You see these boots? Attack 8 is the main stat. That's not a percentage, it's just attack 8. You'd rather have attack, defense, and HP be percentage based as opposed to just the flat stat of attack 8. If this was attack 2% or 1%, whatever it may be, it's inherently more valuable than a flat stat. Generally speaking, flat stats, with a few exceptions like accuracy on your chest or resistance on your chest in very niche situations, aren't going to be valuable for you guys, or in speed on the boots being the big one too, as we just discussed. So don't waste your silver upgrading flat stat artifacts. Look for percentage. Now, flat stats is all you have on the top row. On your weapon, on your helmet, and on your shield. It's always going to be defense on your shield. It's always going to be HP flat stat on your helmet. And it's always going to be attack flat stat on your weapon. So when we talk about don't upgrade flat stats, we're really talking about this middle row here of artifacts, right above my head, right? Let me push over, actually. So here, again, gauntlets, we're looking for percentage. Chest, we're looking for percentage. And boots, again, speed being the exception. So don't waste your silver on flat stats. Also, while we're here, check out the tavern under Kale's skills, right? So there's 3 types of books in this game. We call them books, but they're really skill tomes inside this game that allow you to level up your character's skills. As you can see, there's a number of different skills. Do not use legendary skill tomes, legendary books on epic champions. Do not use epic tomes, epic books on rare champions. Make sure you're using the appropriate tome rarity to match your champion's rarity. I'm not going to get into why, just trust me on this one. You don't want to be wasting your higher rarity stuff on your lower level character, or your lower, rarity characters inside the game. Now, before I end this video, guys, I had to switch over to the main account really quickly and show you some of my favorite farmable champions inside the game. Valerie is all right. She's in stage 1 here. And when I say farmable, it means you can get these champions as rare drops just by completing any of these levels, any of the stages in any of these levels. So Valerie on stage 1 is really solid. On stage 3, is there someone here? No. On stage 4, there is Spirit Host, who has a pretty good ability here. Remove all debuffs from all allies. And then we also have Greybeard, who's a pretty good tank, actually. He has a freeze. He is an AoE attack, defense-based champion, and has a shield as well on himself. Greybeard's not a bad option for you guys. There's also no one there. A few more here that I do want to call out. Shield Guard right here. So Shield Guard, very, very good champion here. Has a turn meter fill by 20% on each critical hit on a 2-turn AoE attack. Also one of the most consistent rare debuffers in the game, War Maiden. So needless to say, the Deadlands going to be very important to farm. That's stage 9. And anybody else who I really love, we talked about Saurus already. You can farm him yourselves, and you can own your very own Saurus in stage 10. And then stage 11, Executioner's not bad as well. Go ahead and consider picking him up. And then I don't think, is there anybody in stage 12? Oh, of course, Diabolus is also really solid. So these are my favorite kind of free-to-play, super accessible champions that you guys can go ahead and farm yourselves in campaign and invest in. I hope this video has given you guys sort of a roadmap in terms of what to focus on, what to prioritize yourselves inside the game. Hey, you might be watching me or come back to this video when you've completed all of that, right? Once you have your Kale 6-star totally ranked, once you have a whole entire team totally ranked up to 6 stars, then what should you do? Well, that's probably a topic for another video, but just to kind of give you guys something to end on here, what I would go for after that is focus on being able to complete stage 13. Stage 13 dungeons, specifically starting with Dragon's Lair, because that's when you can first farm 6-star accuracy, speed, and lifesteal gear, which should be kind of your next priority as you enter into the mid-game of Raid Shadow Legends. So guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.